Okay, so this video will be for those who want to change their gauge cluster, and unfortunately I don't have a surface that's better that I can demonstrate it to you. So I will show you how to convert your cluster from this to this. And for me, there's some limitation on what you can do just because of general functionality. So let's get started. The first thing you'll have to do is remove all of these screws in the back.
Three screws in all.
Once they're loosened up, you can begin to pry these pieces loose here. So convert your screwdriver over to a flathead and begin slowly pushing these prongs out. You see how they're white? Okay. Now there's some on the inside here. Just take your time with it. No rush. Once you have one side removed, it's much easier to get the other. There you go. Starting to pry it loose now. Okay, so now there are some of these things that you don't actually have to remove, but I remove for the purpose of not damaging it. So I try my best to keep everything out of the way and clear that you don't need to, or that you don't want to damage. Get everything out of the way. Doesn't take much effort, so that's how you remove the, I guess, the bezel. Next we're going to remove the black housing here. Just pops loose, nice and easy. When you take care of this, ensure that after you get past this step where you've removed this black housing, this shield if you will, that you don't let this lay flat on the surface that you're working on, because there are a lot of sensitive little components that can be damaged if you're not careful. Okay, there that one goes now. One more to go. Apologies. And here we go. Okay, now for the very important part, the separation of the faceplate and needles. So the guy I learned it from used a fork. You can use anything that you can pry with, so long as it's very, very gentle. And you should probably note the location of the gauges. So when you go to line it up, note that the point is actually, I believe, sitting slightly below the white line. You can kind of see it better from that angle. And here also. So don't be confused by the video, because when I see it in front of me, the line of the needle is actually flush with the top of the bottom line there. So you see there are essentially two lines, because it's a block, right? It's a rectangle. And I talk about this little line right here, the first line, and it lines up directly with the top of that line. Okay, so that's your reference. You can kind of see it. No, you can't see it from that, but you can kind of see it there. It rests, I'm just bending it a little bit so you can see, but it rests right in line with that. both sides. You may want to mark the new piece. So in order to get it out, you just be very patient with it and slowly worry it off like a bone. And it's very likely that the little spine will come loose inside, but don't worry too much about that because you can always fix it later. There it comes. Actually, I was successful not to get it out this time. So, and it just requires a little bit of pulling-ish. Don't be rough with it. Take your time with it. Worry it off like a bone. And there they come. The needles on my original cluster, because I'm going to put everything back to stock on this car, is very easy to take off because they're a different needle. So that's the reason. You can now extract the most important detail because, you know, these two gauges to me are very immature and have aged very poorly. And when I look at them, especially when they're mounted in the car with those silly orange needles, I thought that the car was very juvenile in a sense. It basically lacked that kind of aesthetically pleasing look to a gauge cluster, which I thought this was a far more modern interpretation. And I mean, you can see, I mean, there's no comparison. These actually come out of a Dodge Dart. And I don't know, I just happened to discover it when I was looking. And I looked at those gauges and I said, they're perfect. But unfortunately, people here, they want everything to be factory stock. And so you don't really have too much of an option. But, you know, that's the way things are. So here we go. I'm going to show you quickly. Well, I'll reverse everything that I did here. Okay, there's the other screw there. Keep track of all your screws. Don't lose anything.